Final moments for Bruce Banner have come and went as this video is delayed, which is fine. I wouldn't recommend that even if you still had the opportunity for you to spend your resources on Bruce Banner. It's clear through the data and through experience of playing against Bruce Banner and watching other creators play Bruce Banner that it's just not a great card. But if you do have Bruce Banner, whether you rolled your keys or you thought it was going to be an interesting card, here's some ideas of how you can use this card that you now have outside of the typical high Evo shell that everybody has been talking about. And also welcome to this new format for the Final Moments video. I think I've got an idea of what they can be like moving forward. Hopefully they can happen in a rhythm. If you like card reviews and you like deck videos, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. Today is my last day to achieve the goal of 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I'd appreciate it if you could help me achieve that goal. But let's talk about Bruce and get into some ideas with the card. So first, looking over the data based on untapped players, which the data in that area has been down lately. Less people are playing on Steam, and so this data is less valuable. But nonetheless, he's sitting at a 1.2% popularity rate, a win rate of 52.4%, and the cube rate of 0.05% gained cube, which for a card statistic is actually pretty positive, which I think has more to do with the lack of stats, that there's not many people playing this card to bring those stats down. I mean, as an example, we'll compare this to Doom 2099, who seemed to be the most popular card this month. His popularity is dramatically more at 12.3%. His win rate is barely more at 54%, and his average cubes is also just a little bit higher at 0.27 average cubes gained. So, again, data is not fantastic when it comes to this card, but that's where it's sitting at. So what I rate it? Well, I don't really know because I did not purchase the card, but in my observance of it, I'd give it a 1 star at the most on a 5-star whole star rating. The potential here is one of, where do I see this card going? Second Dinner, in my opinion, is pretty good to nerf or buff cards that are newly released cards to get them in line where they want to be. I don't think they want to release bad cards, and I see them buffing Bruce Banner here in the future, and so that's why I've given it a 3-star potential, that if you've got this card, one, I think there's going to be a way that someone cracks the code of how to play this card, and so someday it might show up again, but I also see that potentially I could see this card getting buffed in the future. I think in my opinion of how it should be buffed for it to work better, is some idea of it, instead of being you have a 25% chance if you have unspent energy, to something along the lines of you have a 25% chance to Hulk out for each unspent energy. So if you have, you skip turn 5 as an example completely to play a 1-cost She-Hulk, you now have 25% chances to Hulk out. Now, I still think that it should not be accumulating, because then just you skip 4 energy and you've got a 100% chance to Hulk out. But that 1 energy, you have 1 chance, you have 1 opportunity at a 25% chance to Hulk out, and that opportunity registers 5 times because you skipped 5 energy, if that makes sense. Again, I don't know. We'll see how this card works out. It's an interesting idea because you kind of pay for the card. A 2/12 is, that's broken if a 2-power card has 12 power, or a 2-energy card has 12 power. But so you kind of pay for Bruce over time by floating that energy. But in some decks that actually ends up working, and so it's not a downside, and that's why he kind of ended up in that high Evo shell. Again, current reason for the current star rating is playing against him. I just never felt threatened by him. At most, I would just avoid the location, or I would always calculate, do I have the potential to beat 12 power in this location? And, went that way. It never, there is some benefit here that your opponent doesn't know what is going to happen. Your opponent doesn't know if he's going to Hulk out. And so that uncertainty and not knowing what's going to happen is a huge advantage to you if you're playing Bruce Banner. But it's not that hard to play around. So finally, to the deck ideas, which if you've already got the card, you probably played him in a deck exactly like this or very similar to this with high Evo. According to Untapped, at the time of recording, this was the deck that is playing the best as far as win rate goes, and also has a decent amount of games. There's some other versions of this deck, and high Evo in particular, that are doing okay, that include cards like Ajax, but they skip on cards like Bruce Banner to include something like a Scorpion or a Silver Sable or other cards that are going to boost that Ajax that fit in that high Evo shell. So ditching Bruce Banner. So to Bruce Banner high Evo combo specifically, this is the one that did the best, which is actually really interesting. It's a pretty straightforward high Evo deck. Like, there's nothing too fancy about it. It's just a high Evo deck. So interesting that it has a 55% win rate. I mean, that's pretty good. Is Bruce to blame for that? Probably not, but maybe High Evo does have some minor place in the meta to stay, hopefully. And then lastly, my deck idea where I looked in Untapped and there was nobody really going this angle. I mean, kind of, there existed like one or two decks, but I think, and as you can see here, I don't have Hope Summers or Bruce Banner. You can see that's why they're grayed out. But I think that Bruce Banner has the potential, and again, it's tough because at a 2-cost in this Thena Hope Summers Kitty Pryde deck, wouldn't it just be better to play Angela? Because you can get Angela to like a 2/8 pretty easily sometimes, if not more. So what do you do? Is Bruce Banner worth it? And here's my thought. Again, I don't have Hope Summers, I don't have Bruce Banner. But if you're playing Hope Summers and Thena together, right? Because you can have a Hope Summers deck that's not a Thena deck, and so you're just going to play as many cards as that Hope Summers energy allows you to play, and that makes great sense with Kitty Pryde and Galacta and Captain Marvel, and you could throw in an Iron Man here, that type of thing. But specifically with Thena, where you're only wanting to play 2 cards, and you're generating that with Hope Summers, there's a chance that you're going to float energy. And part of that is tough to know because, you know, that energy the Hope Summers generates allows you to play higher cost cards and more of them. So you don't want to float that energy because you're working hard to generate it, right? So there's that discussion of it being back and forth. But this is why I thought of it immediately. The amount of times that I have been playing a Thena deck, and my opponent sees me play down Thena. Thena is the immediate target for a Red Guardian. And so at most, I was able to get that Thena to register once, and so it's hit with Red Guardian. I now have a 2/1 powered Thena, which is super frustrating and does not have the potential to scale. So there's 2 trade-offs in this. If you've got a Bruce Banner on the board and a Thena on the board, which one becomes the target for your Red Guardian? And it's almost like a Red Guardian shield. And you're like, okay, well, you could do that with Cosmo, or you could play a lower power card next to Thena. Well, yeah, that doesn't always work out, and it also is not always going to work out that you're going to have Bruce Banner and Thena down. So I'm not saying that this is a foolproof against that Red Guardian hit to Thena, but I thought it would be an interesting idea because focusing on playing that 2 cards that you want to Athena and playing Kitty Pryde and with Hope Summers, there's a chance that you're going to be floating energy. So maybe Bruce is worth it in this shell, giving you one more opportunity to get power that much higher, as this deck without Thena, without, you know, Professor X and Sage doesn't have the potential to go super tall, right? So you got to be able to go tall with Thena and then lock down or just get enough in another lane. And Bruce Banner can help with that. He can be a lane winner or a lane distraction and getting your opponent to play there instead of your other lanes. So potential idea. I don't have a card. I don't have Hope Summers, so I can't test it. I mean, you might try it. I don't think that it's a great deck. If I had these cards and I wanted to play Athena, Kitty Pryde, Hope Summers deck, I probably would not include Bruce Banner. But if you've got Bruce Banner and you're looking for places to play him, this is one that I think would work. So give it a try. If you do, let me know in the comments what you think of this deck, or if you have other suggestions of where Bruce Banner could potentially be used, because he's not going to be used in anything for quite a while, because he is not a great card. But, you know, we got Rocket Raccoon and Groot today. Excited to queue that up right after this and see how that goes. So thanks for watching. Again, subscribe if you're new here. Help me reach my goal in the last day, in my final moments of 2024. And actually, that should have been the opening to the video. Man, what a shame. That was a missed opportunity. The final moments of 2024. Nonetheless, here we are. Appreciate every single one of you who are subscribed and all of those who watch the videos and comments. Really, I can't express at the end of this year how much it means to me to be finally working towards a goal that I've had for a long time. So thank you for helping me achieve that. I appreciate every single one of you. Happy snapping.